Guys, welcome back to part 3 of how to use the trigger. So, we're going to start off with left to right, so let's start off with collision trigger. So, to do this, we're going to edit the object, and now there are 3 things we have to do. Well, actually 4 if you count the ticks. So, in collision trigger, there's block A ID, block B ID, and target ID. So we're gonna make block A ID 1, block B 2, target 3. And activate group. Now what this means in English is when block number A has a collision with block B, the target ID 3 will untoggle if it is toggled. Now, why will it untoggle? It's because we activate group, and if you've ever seen a toggle trigger, if you ever click activate group, it'll untoggle if it is toggled. So we're going to hit OK, and now we're going to make these objects. Now, this will only work on these. It won't work on anything else, so we're going to get this here. We're going to put one here, and we're going to make this, and we're going to hit edit object, not edit group like normal, edit object, and we're going to make this block 1 and hit dynamic block. That dynamic block is really important. And block 2 for the second one. And now we have 1 and 2. So that's all good. Now what we need to do is we're going to make them block 1 here. We're going to make it move and crash into block 2. And we're going to make them move with the screen also so that we don't miss a thing. So we're going to get a move block, and we're going to put it up here, and we're going to make this group 4. Move time will be 1, and we're going to make this move X 20. Move X 20 is to the right, so we're going to move it up from 1 to 2. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to get group 1, and we're going to make this group 4. So now that's the one that's going to move. As you see, it starts to move, but we want to move with the screen so we don't miss anything. So I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm going to make this 5. And I'm going to change move X to 0, and I'm going to make lock to player X. What's this going to do is it's going to move with our icon. If you make lock to player Y here, what it's going to do, it's going to move whenever we jump. And if we make it lock to X and Y whenever we jump, it'll move with the screen, and whenever we jump, it'll jump. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. But we're just going to make it lock to player X. Now, we're going to take both of these, and we're going to make these 5. And now, okay. So that's all good. Now what we need to do is we're going to put 3 spikes right here. Okay, so now we're going to edit them, and this is the target that we want to untoggle. So basically, we're going to toggle these so they're gone, but they're going to untoggle when you least expect them. That's how this thing works. So we're going to put a toggle trigger there. We're going to make this 3. And now what we're going to do is, that's pretty much it actually. And they just appear once these two collide. And that is how the toggle triggers work. Okay, so next we're going to be working on the stop trigger. Now, if you look up in the information, it'll stop a trigger. So if we have, say, this block right here, and we have a move trigger here, and we're going to make this group 1, and we're going to move time 050, move Y, I guess, move X, 40. Going to make this group 1. Now it's going to move across. Let me move it up here. Okay, so it's moving like that. That's good. So now what we're going to do, we're going to get this stop trigger, and we're going to group ID 2. And we're going to go move trigger, and we're going to edit group, an object group and hit add group 2. So make sure this is group 2, not group 3 or anything, group 2. And now it'll stop right here. And the reason it doesn't stop at the stop trigger, it stops here, is because it stops when our player passes it, just like any old trigger. But if we put this thing right here, bang on, it'll stop right at the stop trigger. Well, kind of, if this thing moves fast enough. It'll stop whenever our player touches this stop trigger. So watch. Our player just touched the stop trigger, so it's going to stop right there. And of course it stops there. So that is pretty much how the stop trigger works. Next up, we're going to be working on the animate trigger. And what the animate trigger does is, if we take a dragon here, we want this to move. We don't want it just to do that boring kind of just biting kind of thing. It's boring now. We're tired of it. We wanted to do something different. We're going to go into the animate trigger. I'm going to make this group 1. We're going to make this thing here also group 1. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the animate trigger all the way back here. And I'm going to put this here. Okay, so now the animate trigger, I'm going to animation ID. Now what an animation ID is, if you look in the information button right here, it'll say help, so big beast or bat. So this is a big beast here, and this here is a bat. So anyway, we have a big beast, so let's take a look. A big beast, if we type in 0 for the animation ID, it'll bite. Attack 1 for 1, 2 for attack 1, and end, so it's a little different, I guess. 3, idle 1. So let's try number 2. So I'm going to animation ID 2. Now I'm going to hit save and play. So now it's doing that. It looks like it's doing the same thing. Let's try a different one. Maybe it'll do something different. So let's try 3. And sure enough, now it's doing something different. So that's basically how it works. Okay, so the next is follow player Y. It's pretty basic enough. We're going to take a thing right here. Now this looks really hard, but it's not that hard. You don't really need to mess up the offset and max speed unless you are really determined to get this very cool. Target group ID 1, move time 0.50. I'm going to make this group 1. Now what this is going to do, whenever you jump, it's going to do something. So it's going to move up whenever you jump. So it'll only work once you pass that trigger. So it'll make it tricky to jump over it, actually. It's actually impossible to jump over it, but that is really how it works. If I actually put it back here, then you see how it's all jumpy. So that is how it works. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the touch triggers, the final trigger of the day. So we're going to make this group 1, and we're going to make this toggle off, okay? So we're going to put a spike right here, and we're going to make this spike group 1. Now, it won't toggle at all unless you touch the screen, so watch. So it didn't toggle at all. Now, if I touch the screen, it toggles. So that is how the touch trigger works, and that's all the triggers. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.